she's being told X, Y, and Z, and I don't think much. Get out of there. Well, the crowd are seeing the pictures on the big screen.
This will be a day to remember in the tennis world.
You know, if I was to lose to anyone, it would definitely be you.
And if you're doing that, the risks are often not as great as they seem to be. So for me, when I thought about...
That's what stunned everyone when Alex Eala's coach finally broke his silence. For weeks, fans believed they understood what had happened. They saw the match. They saw the scoreboard. They saw the moment she lowered her head and tried to hide her face behind a towel. But according to the man who stood closest to her through it all, the truth behind those tears was far deeper than anyone imagined. Alex Eala has never been just another young player on tour. From the beginning, she carried something heavier than a tennis bag. She carried the expectations of a nation. Every time she stepped onto the court, she wasn't just playing for ranking points. She was playing for history, for pride, for every young athlete back home who saw themselves in her fight. And in recent months, her rise had been nothing short of breathtaking. Big wins, packed stadiums, headlines calling her the future of the sport. The pressure didn't just grow quietly. It exploded. Behind the scenes, the schedule became brutal. Long training sessions, endless media appearances, travel from one country to another with barely time to breathe. The world saw the highlight reels, the powerful forehands, the fearless returns. What they didn't see were the early mornings when her body felt heavy, or the late nights when doubt crept in quietly. Her coach saw it all. He saw the silent moments when she sat alone after practice, staring at the court as if trying to solve a puzzle only she could see. Going into that now famous match, the stakes were higher than ever. The opponent was elite. The crowd was electric. Social media buzzed with predictions. Analysts debated whether she was ready for this stage. Some believed this was her coronation. Others whispered that the hype had come too fast. The tension wasn't just in the arena. It was everywhere. And Alex felt it. From the first set, it was clear this would not be easy. Every rally stretched longer. Every point demanded more. She fought with everything she had, chasing balls that seemed unreachable, turning defense into sudden attack. The crowd roared with every winner. Cameras zoomed in on her determined expression. But her coach noticed something different. A slight hesitation between points. A deeper breath than usual. A flicker of exhaustion she tried desperately to hide. As the match reached its turning point, momentum began to shift. The opponent raised her level. Shots that once landed inches inside the line now drifted just wide. The rallies grew even longer, and with each missed opportunity, the weight on Alex's shoulders seemed to double. The scoreboard tightened. The noise grew louder. The pressure became suffocating. Then came the final games. You could feel it in the air. One break point. One missed return. One last exchange that ended with the ball flying past her reach. The match was over. The stadium erupted, not just in celebration, but in emotion. Some fans stood in applause. Others watched in stunned silence. And in that moment, as she walked toward the net, something inside her cracked. When she reached her chair, she tried to hold it together. She grabbed the towel. She looked down. But the tears came anyway. At first, the world thought it was simple. A tough loss. A young player overwhelmed by the moment. That's the story that spread across headlines. That's what commentators repeated. But days later, her coach stepped forward and told a different story. He revealed that those tears were not about defeat. They were about exhaustion. About months of carrying expectations that number 19-year-old should have to carry alone. He spoke about the invisible pressure of being labeled the next big thing. About how every match started to feel like a referendum on her future. He admitted that she had been pushing through physical pain, refusing to complain, refusing to step back because she didn't want to disappoint anyone. He described a conversation they had the night before the match. She had told him she was tired, not just physically, but mentally. Tired of proving herself. Tired of hearing that every performance would define her legacy. He said she wasn't afraid of losing. She was afraid of letting people down. That's what those tears were. Not weakness. Not frustration. but release. When the coach finished speaking, the narrative shifted. Fans began to see the bigger picture. They realized that behind the fearless competitor was a young woman navigating a storm of expectation. Media outlets replayed the footage of her tears, but now it felt different. It wasn't a symbol of failure. It was human. Teammates and fellow players responded with support. Some shared their own experiences of burnout. Others praised her courage. The story stopped being about one lost match and started being about resilience. But perhaps the most powerful moment came when Alex herself addressed it. She didn't deny the emotion. She didn't pretend it hadn't affected her. Instead, she acknowledged it. She said that sometimes you give everything you have, and when it's over, your body and heart just let go. She thanked her team. She thanked the fans. And she promised to grow from it. The aftermath was surprisingly uplifting. Training didn't stop, but it changed. Her coach emphasized balance. Rest days were protected. Media obligations were reduced. The focus shifted from proving something to building something. Slowly, the weight began to lift. Why does this moment matter? Because in modern sports, we celebrate dominance, but rarely discuss vulnerability. We expect young stars to perform like machines. We analyze their stats, critique their mistakes, and forget that they feel every win and loss more deeply than anyone watching from the stands. Alex Eala's tears forced the conversation into the open. They reminded people that strength is not the absence of emotion. It is the courage to face it. Her coach's honesty also exposed a truth about elite competition. Success is not linear. Growth is not painless. Behind every highlight clip is sacrifice. Behind every trophy is pressure. And sometimes, the bravest thing an athlete can do is admit they are human. Looking forward, this chapter may become one of the most important in her career. Not because of the loss, but because of what it revealed. It showed her limits and her capacity to overcome them. It showed her team what needed to change. And it showed the world that she is more than hype. She is resilient. The next time she steps onto a big stage, the memory of those tears will still be there. But they will not represent doubt. They will represent growth. They will represent a turning point where expectation transformed into maturity. In the long run, champions are not defined by how they win. They are defined by how they respond when everything feels overwhelming. If this moment teaches us anything, it's that Alex Eala is still writing her story. And sometimes, the most powerful chapters are the ones filled with struggle. Those tears were never a sign of breaking. They were a sign of becoming. And if you enjoy powerful stories from the world of tennis, make sure to like this video and subscribe to Tennis Hub for more emotional and cinematic sports stories just like this.